From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The evidence hearing for the four men who say they are innocent of a 1997 murder wrapped up its second week in Fairbanks Superior Court.
Kevin Pease, Eugene Vent, Marvin Roberts, and George Freeze, commonly referred to as the Fairbanks Four, are seeking exoneration after new evidence and confessions have surfaced.
That's right. We've been covering the trial and have more now in this report. More questions today as the first of the men known as the Fairbanks Four took to the stand for an extended cross-examination.
We know you were there. We just want to know what part you took in. We got people saying you're there.
George Freeze testified at length yesterday that the night of October 10th, 1997 consisted of binge drinking and blackouts.
And yeah, so there ain't no explanation, there ain't no none of that, and that's just some vague statement that, because I didn't have any details about any kind of motive or whatever.
Because you didn't know what your motive was that night, did you?
Because there isn't any. I didn't do it.
But it was his own statements that prosecutor Adrian Bachman honed in on.
You don't actually have a memory of whether or not you did it, do you?
I know that the facts of the case said he was attacked between 1:28 and 1:33 a.m. and that I left my house at 1:30.
Freeze voluntarily went to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital the next day for a reported injury to his foot. It was that injury that Fairbanks Police Department were called for, and Freeze learned of John Hartman, who lay dying in another room.
Yeah, yep. They were telling me that he's upstairs, he's in ICU, that he could be dying, but I don't recall if they told me that he was brain dead or whatever. Saying something about a sexual assault. They probably mentioned that about 5-6 times maybe.
Freeze, much like many others who testified so far, recounted his questioning and said he relented and just told the cops what they wanted to hear.
What you are trying to say is that I broke down and just started confessing to something. I just started agreeing to whatever they were telling me the entire time, was that I had taken part in this, that they had witnesses, and that I kicked him a couple times, that Kevin started it, and that all that. I just started agreeing to it.
One of the major points of contention today was the footprints left on Hartman's face. Today, the petitioners called an expert witness who testified the photos used to convict the men were incomplete and lacked any actual scale.
With that limited examination, I found no correspondence between the injuries that I observed, those feature shapes of the injuries, and any of the shapes of the shoe lugs as represented on that partial shoe impression.
From Rabinowitz Courthouse, this is Stephanie Woodard reporting.
The U.S. Department of the Interior plans to cancel 2 potential Arctic offshore leases, citing current market conditions and low industry interest. The announcement caught Alaska political leaders attending the Alaska Federation of Natives Conference in Anchorage off guard. Senator Lisa Murkowski said, quote, "If Interior Secretary Sally Jewell is going to shut down this state, she needs to give us a little notice," end quote, referring to a voicemail she received from Jewell. The decision was made in the wake of Shell's announcement that the company will cease offshore drilling exploration in the Arctic. The Interior Department also says it will not extend Arctic offshore leases held by Shell and other companies in Arctic waters off Alaska's northern coast. The decisions significantly reduce the chances for future Arctic offshore drilling. Representative Don Young suggested a lawsuit by the state. Greenpeace, meantime, cheered the news.
In a federal court hearing yesterday, litigation over the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill came to an end. Lawyers for ExxonMobil, the state of Alaska, and the U.S. Justice Department updated the judge on the government's decision not to seek an additional $92 million in damages. The state and federal governments decided to drop judicial actions against ExxonMobil because research found that ducks and sea otters have sufficiently recovered to pre-spill levels. Opponents of yesterday's decision say those animals haven't yet fully recovered, and other species like herring are still in trouble. The Exxon Valdez oil spill released approximately 11 million gallons of crude oil into Prince William Sound.
I think it's a good outcome. You have to take it in context of the overall settlement. This is just a tail piece to the 1991 settlement, which was for $900 million, a record settlement in 1991.
A settlement that's still alive.
Herring is a keystone species in the Sound. How you can say that the Sound is recovered without considering herring is somewhat disingenuous to me. It's illogical.
Okay, when we come back, Green Star of Alaska kicked off their two-day recycling event today as they focus on reaching their goal of collecting 125 tons of used electronic items.
Also, tomorrow Pioneer Park will be the scene of a number of cultures coming together to celebrate International Friendship Day. We'll have more and other stories when we come back. Welcome back. There was an open house this afternoon at the North Star Community Residential Center on the Parks Highway near Esther. The center is a place where the Department of Corrections can send people so they can transition from jail back into society. The center has been in the news frequently over the last couple of years when those sent to the facility walked away and were charged with escape. Those attending the open house today met with CRC staff, toured the facility, and learned about programs that are available for residents there. Director Stacy Cross said something new they are going to start doing with their case managers is following up with residents after they leave the facility to see how they're doing.
Once residents are out of our center, we want to be able to call back and find out how they're doing and if they need anything. So if they need anything and they need to talk to DOC or talk to another agency, we're going to try to reach out to them and say, look, this guy needs some help or some type of assistance or whatever. Because the real goal is really to make sure that the residents here in Fairbanks is successful and not have to come back to us.
Green Star of Interior Alaska is starting its monthly recycling weekend today and has had more donations than expected already. Green Star is just a few tons away from reaching their 125-ton goal. If reached, they will have taken in 37% more waste than last year. Folks from the interior can do their part by dropping off almost any electronics. Anything dropped off there will be safely recycled. Volunteers are still needed this weekend, and more information can be found at our website, webcenter11.com.
What happens to your electronics is we truck it to Anchorage, and then eventually it goes to Seattle. And if you can imagine a gigantic coffee grinder, so all of the electronics are fed into this machine and they're ground up, and then the plastic goes one way, the metal goes another, and the glass goes another, and eventually it ends up on the commodities markets.
The reason I recycle is because it's better for the environment and it keeps things out of our waste stream and out of our landfills, and because it's a lifestyle that I've acquired over my lifetime from Michigan and having to recycle there and at school and composting, and so it's just what I do.
Tomorrow is International Friendship Day. The focus is to celebrate the countless cultures around the world. To mark the occasion, the Fairbanks International Friendship Day Committee is hosting their 29th annual International Friendship Day event. It starts at noon and ends at 5 p.m. in the Pioneer Park Civic Center. There will be stage performances, displays, food, and gifts available for attendees. Admission is free of charge. Event coordinator Fbx Evening and Rosalind Kahn say the performances will vary just like the cultures representing them.
People bring out their costumes, their food, their customs, and you see people dressed in their native dress from whatever country, from Poland to Peru to Thailand. And they dance and perform.
You just be amazed. Actually, in Fairbanks, we have that many people from all over practically all over the world.
Talented
actually.
People.
All right, Joe Cook is up next, and he joins us live from outside of the Carlson Center for the Bryce, Alaska Gold Rush.
That's right. He'll be on scene, and we'll have more in sports, including a football team looking to repeat as state champions.
All
Stay
that
with
and
us.
More.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here, and I'm reporting live from the Grotto Memorial Park parking lot right across the street from the Carlson Center, the site of the Bryce, Alaska Gold Rush. The Nanac hosting 3 teams this weekend for a hockey. Hockey is back in Fairbanks. In fact, the UAF Face-Off Club, they're holding their tailgate party right behind me. They're just about wrapping up as they're going to head inside to see the Alaska Nanacs take on the American International College at 7 o'clock. That's when the puck is going to drop, right around 7:05. UAA and RPI are playing right now, doing battle. Now, this Bryce, Alaska Gold Rush is basically an Ice Dogs reunion, if you will. 9 former Ice Dogs will be in uniform for their respective teams. I talked to Nick Hens, a former Ice Dog and a Nanac defenseman. He said, hey, it's great to have all the boys back in town, but the Nanacs have to handle business this weekend and get some W's. UAF 0-2. He said winning those gray area pucks and, of course, outworking their opponent is going to be key key for the Nanook staff's success this weekend. And if you can't come out here tonight, don't worry, we got you covered at 11 o'clock in the Sports Nightcap with highlights from tonight's game. But for now, let's get to the Friday Sportscast. Today, the GNAC preseason polls were released for women's basketball. Now, despite the women's team of UAF winning 14 games last season, they didn't get a lot of love from the conference in the polls. They were picked to finish in 9th place. Alaska barely missed the tournament last year as they finished tied for 7th in the final standings. On the flip side, the Anchorage Seawolves were picked as the unanimous preseason favorite. UAA won the conference last year. They were ranked #1 in the country. We'll have more on Nanook's basketball this coming Tuesday in the Nanook Corner. Now, last night, the UF volleyball team attempted to extend their home match winning streak to 3 games for the first time since 2008. But the clan of Simon Fraser stood in their ways. We go to the highlights. Sam Hartoon, she made her return after missing 2 games due to an injury, and she had 8 kills to lead the Nooks. The clan hurt UAF, however, with a 25-14 win in the opening set. UAF battled back from 10 down in the second set. It's Miranda Greaser's play. This is an I-5 nominee. That play brought Alaska within 3 at 19-22. The clan, they would finish off the set with a 25-20 win. The third set was really tight. UAF went up 21-19, breaking a 19 tie behind the blocking of Lila Hudson. The clan closed out with Jessica Young, who had a game-high 11 kills. Simon Fraser sweeps Alaska with a 25-22 win. UAF is now 2-14 overall and 2-7 in the GNAC. Switching to high school sports, the Allison Raven football team is the only interior team left in the state playoffs. This Saturday, they will defend their small school state title against rival Nikiski. This is a rematch of last year's state final. The two programs have gone back and forth for small school supremacy in the last few years. The state champion has either been Allison or Kiski the past 4 seasons. But the Ravens have won 2 championships in the last 3 years. This Saturday, they could earn their first repeat in program history. Kickoff is set for 12:30 at Diamond High School this Saturday. This stacked Ravens team comes in with an 8-1 record, 10 first-team all-conference player awards, and 4 individual all-conference awards, and they also beat Nikiski in the regular season. Keeping things simple for this group usually equals big wins and big trophies for a small schools program that is on the brink of a dynasty.
Doing what we do, not trying to, do anything different, just making sure that we can, control the tempo, control the flow and things like that. And I think we'll be fine. They're a good group down there too, so it's definitely going to be a battle.
We're bonded so close. We're like a family. We love defense. We have fun. We fly around. We feed off each other's energy, keep going hard.
It's a good rivalry. We go back and forth, but we just need to keep our mind focused, and if we have a bad play, just shake it off and keep going forward.
And in high school volleyball, one local team has established themselves as the top dog. The West Valley Wolfpack had their second MAC conference game in as many nights on Thursday as they hosted rival Lathrop. The result was like Wednesday's outing against North Pole. Lathrop pushed the pack for a 26-24 win in the opening set. Then the Wolfpack, they woke up and took the next 3 sets, 25-20, 25-13, 25-10, as Lathrop falls to 5-5 on the year and 0-3 in the conference. Stella Knox led West Valley with 15 kills. The defense picked up as Ellen Silva and Ruthie Hebert combined for 17 blocks in the match. And Kaya Campbell controlled the back row with 32 digs. The Wolfpack earned back-to-back come-from-behind wins to remain undefeated at 9-0 overall and 3-0 in the MAC. Another volleyball action, the Delta Junction Huskies fall in 4 sets to Kotzebue in a non-conference match. Angelique Campos, she had 29 digs to lead the Huskies, and Jessie Hall also added 5 kills in the win for the Delta Junction, in the loss for Delta Junction. And now we close out the sportscast with this week's play of the week. The people have spoken. Lathrop's R.J. Henry has this week's play of the week. The junior receiver and running back displays some shifty moves against the West Anchorage Eagles in last week's playoff game. Nice play from Henry despite the loss in the state quarterfinals to West Anchorage. That's back-to-back play of the weeks for Henry as well. That was your play of the week. To pick the next POTW, watch the I-5 Interior Top 5 plays on Mondays during the weekend recap. And that's all I have for sports at 6 o'clock. But remember, if you can't make it out to this UAF AIC Bryce Alaska Gold Rush opener, we'll have highlights here at 11 o'clock. Reporting from Ground Memorial Parking Lot, I'm Joe Cook. Mike Schultz is up next with weather. And as always, we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into our Friday night edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with once again. Time to talk about the weather. And as you can see with Joe out there, the clouds are moving in. It was nice all day long, but now the clouds are starting to move in, and it kind of signals the approach of a little more moisture coming in from the southeast. We'll show you that in just a little bit. Our photograph tonight, another beautiful sunrise. This one captured by Robin Johnson. And you look at the colors once again, beautiful oranges and pinks and reds. And as always, if you have a photograph that you want to share with the audience, by all means send it to photos@ktbf11.com. Today's high, not quite as warm as it was yesterday, 46. The low last night, a chilly 22 degrees. Record high was 56 in 1925, 14 below in 1965, so a pretty good turnaround there. Our sunrise and sunset about 9 hours and 39 minutes, a loss of 6 minutes from yesterday. Okay, let's take a look at that satellite and show you what's coming in. As you can see, we are at the very end of the satellite pictures showing some moisture moving in from the southeast, so that'll probably be moving in over the Fairbanks area by later on this evening, and then we'll be looking at possibly some mixed rain and snow. That's about it, but no accumulation expected, but just enough to make the streets probably slick. More rain falling across southeast Alaska too. And a little closer look on our latest radar, zooming in around the Fairbanks area. You see that band of moisture moving in from the southeast, and it's moving up toward the Fairbanks area, so I don't think we're going to dodge this one. Now, what else is going on across the rest of the state? Well, you can again see more rain falling across southeast Alaska, Juneau, and Ketchikan. Also some showers around the Anchorage Bowl, where their high was only 42 degrees today. Raining all day long at Kodiak, 50 degrees there. Just cloudy skies at Cold Bay, 46. Around the Bethel area, 36, but warmer in Nome. How about that? 42 degrees there. Look at Barrow, 6 degrees, and Fort Yukon at 32. Lower 48 weather, well, we're looking at again over the Pacific Northwest. The rains have returned there. Seattle looking at 67 and rain. 71 in San Francisco. Not nearly as warm as it has been for the last few days in Las Vegas because of cloud cover and thunderstorm activity. But it is warm in Phoenix, 95 degrees. And it's cooled down a little bit around the Dallas area. Still fairly cool in Denver. Minneapolis chilling down to 47 degrees for their high. How about that? Cold areas moving in, all in association with a pretty good area of low pressure sitting across the northern sections of the Great Lakes, helping to bring across the cold air from Canada, sweeping it all the way across. And they're looking at a possibility of snow in some of the higher elevations. And then again over the southwest, you'll see here we have lots of thunderstorm activity and a lot of rain moving across much of the southwest. And there's the rain falling across the Pacific Northwest too. But the key factor of this tonight is the cool air that's moving in across much of the lower 48 northeastern sections by Saturday night and Sunday. Again, the cold air is freezing conditions, and the pink is frost. And back to the jet stream, once again, the area of low pressure developing across the west half will bring the showers with it. And as far as our kids' weather, well, tonight we have a weather fact for you. In 1913, there goes, San Francisco got up to 101 degrees. That's an all-time record. And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And next week, the kids will be here from Denali Elementary to talk with us. Our forecast real quickly: light snow for Barrow, cloudy skies in Nome, and scattered snow showers for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, looking at rain and snow shower activity at Fairbanks, rain showers for Healy and Delta Junction. The rains will continue over southeast Alaska for Ketchikan and Juneau, while out to the southwest. We'll be looking at rain for Cold Bay, mixed rain and snow showers at Bethel, and rain likely for Kodiak Island. And down around the Anchorage Bowl, well, it looks like periods of rain across the entire region. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, like I said, looking at a change and with more showers coming in, with a few snow and rain showers possible. 33. And tomorrow, 42 degrees, morning snow, then rain, showers by afternoon. And the overnight, or actually the 5-day outlook, as you can see here, temperatures pretty consistent, right around 40 degrees each day. 38 on Wednesday, 37 on Thursday, and then overnight lows will once again be quite chilly in the mid to upper 20s. No real significant rain or snow in the forecast, just some scattered showers off and on right on through the weekend.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good weekend, I think, and you still have time to get out there and get some yard work done if you need to.
Definitely. Yard work.
Or your spouse. All right. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Well, tonight on NBC Nightly News, Joe Biden is signaling to voters that the door is still open for a run but no commitment yet. That's up next with Lester Holt.
All right, a reminder to tune in tomorrow for the Interior's only news and sportscast at 6 and 11 with Katie Looper and Mike Fussell.
All right, from all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.
Good night.